A fresh start in a new home often symbolizes hope, a chance to grow, create memories, and build a future. But for Jessica Edwards, what should have been the beginning of a bright new chapter turned into a nightmare from which she would never wake. Jessica's tragic story is a haunting reminder of how dangerous domestic violence can be, often concealed behind closed doors until it's too late. This is the case of Jessica Edwards, a young mother, a promising professional, and a victim of the ultimate betrayal by the man she trusted most. Who was Jessica Edwards? Jessica Edwards, a 30-year-old wife and mother, was a dedicated and ambitious woman with her eyes set on a career in the medical field. Having recently earned her degree in health sciences, she was preparing to pursue her dream of working in healthcare, a profession that reflected her caring and nurturing nature. Jessica was also a devoted mother to her 7-month-old son. Friends and family described her as compassionate, intelligent, and full of life. A woman who worked hard to provide a bright future for her child. Her husband, David Edwards, appeared to outsiders as a supportive partner. At 32, he was employed as a security guard, and the couple had just moved into a new home in South Windsor, Connecticut, in May 2021. To neighbors and acquaintances, they seemed like a picture-perfect young family. But appearances can be deceiving. The days leading up to the disappearance. In the days before her disappearance, Jessica had celebrated Mother's Day with her family on May 9, 2021. The event was joyful, with no outward indication that something was wrong. Jessica was smiling and surrounded by loved ones, but behind the scenes, her marriage was unraveling. Jessica's family and friends later revealed that her relationship with David was far from ideal. While the couple's life seemed stable on the surface, Jessica had confided in a close friend that David's behavior was becoming increasingly controlling and aggressive. She mentioned arguments that often left her feeling emotionally drained and trapped. Despite these warning signs, Jessica tried to hold things together for the sake of their infant son. However, the tension in their marriage was becoming harder to ignore. The day Jessica went missing. On May 10, 2021, just one day after Mother's Day, Jessica vanished. David Edwards reported her missing, claiming she had left their home that morning following an argument. According to David, Jessica had taken a bag and walked out, leaving their 7-month-old baby behind. From the moment she was reported missing, Jessica's family felt uneasy. It was completely out of character for her to leave without contacting anyone, especially with a young child at home. Her mother, Linda Williams, immediately alerted the authorities and pleaded for answers. Local police began their investigation, but what started as a missing persons case quickly turned into something far more sinister. The investigation and suspicions. As police questioned David, his story raised several red flags. He described a heated argument during which Jessica decided to leave, but he couldn't provide any evidence to back up his claims. Surveillance footage from their neighborhood showed no signs of Jessica leaving the house that morning. Jessica's phone activity ceased abruptly, and there were no bank transactions or social media posts to suggest she had left voluntarily. Investigators found this highly unusual for a young mother who was known to stay in constant contact with her family. Friends and family painted a troubling picture of Jessica's relationship with David. They revealed that she had been contemplating leaving him due to his erratic and controlling behavior. These revelations added weight to investigators' growing suspicions that David might be hiding something. A startling confession. After days of mounting pressure from law enforcement, David Edwards confessed to killing Jessica. But the details of his confession were both chilling and calculated. David claimed that during an argument on the morning of May 10, Jessica had become physically aggressive. He alleged that she struck him first, and in an attempt to restrain her, he placed her in a chokehold. According to David, he didn't realize how much force he was using until it was too late. This version of events seemed convenient at best. Experts noted that the force required to cause asphyxiation is deliberate and sustained, contradicting David's claim that her death was accidental. The aftermath of the crime. What happened after Jessica's death was even more disturbing. Instead of calling 911 or seeking help, David panicked. He placed Jessica's body in the trunk of his car and drove to a secluded area in East Hartford. There, he disposed of her remains in a wooded area, hoping to cover his tracks. David spent the next week pretending to search for his missing wife. He gave interviews to police, participated in community search efforts, and even expressed concern for Jessica's well-being. All the while, he knew exactly where she was. Jessica's body was discovered on May 18, 2021, 8 days after her disappearance. The autopsy revealed that she had died from asphyxiation due to strangulation. The findings were consistent with homicide, leaving no doubt that her death was the result of deliberate violence. The trial and sentencing. David Edwards was arrested and charged with manslaughter and tampering with evidence. During the trial, prosecutors argued that Jessica's death was not an accident, but the result of a calculated act of violence. The prosecution presented damning evidence, including text messages and witness testimony that highlighted the volatile nature of the couple's relationship. They described David as a jealous and controlling husband who snapped during an argument and killed Jessica in a fit of rage. Forensic experts testified that the injuries sustained by Jessica were consistent with intentional strangulation, further discrediting David's claim of accidental death. Despite his defense team's attempts to portray him as a man who made a tragic mistake, the jury was unconvinced. In November 2021, David Edwards was convicted of manslaughter and sentenced to 40 years in prison. The impact on Jessica's family. Jessica's death devastated her family, particularly her mother, Linda Williams, who had been a pillar of support throughout her life. In the aftermath of the trial, Linda spoke openly about her daughter's dreams, her love for her son, and the deep void her absence had left. The family has since dedicated themselves to raising awareness about domestic violence, sharing Jessica's story as a warning to others. They hope that by speaking out, they can help prevent similar tragedies and encourage victims to seek help before it's too late. Domestic violence, a silent epidemic. Jessica's story is a heartbreaking reminder of the dangers of domestic violence. According to the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence, an average of 20 people per minute are physically abused by an intimate partner in the United States. Many cases go unreported, leaving victims isolated and vulnerable. Jessica's case highlights the importance of recognizing the warning signs of abuse, which can include controlling behavior, emotional manipulation, and physical aggression. It also underscores the need for accessible resources, such as hotlines, shelters, and counseling services for those experiencing domestic violence. Lessons from Jessica's story. While Jessica's life was tragically cut short, her story serves as a powerful reminder of the importance of addressing domestic violence proactively. It's a call to action for individuals, communities, and policymakers to work together to create safer environments for victims and their families. For those who suspect a loved one may be in danger, offering support and listening without judgment can make a world of difference. Sometimes, a simple conversation can be the first step towards safety and healing. Jessica Edwards was a bright, loving woman whose life ended far too soon. Her story is a stark reminder of the devastating consequences of domestic violence and the importance of vigilance, compassion, and justice. If you or someone you know is experiencing domestic violence, please don't hesitate to seek help. Resources like the National Domestic Violence Hotline are available 24/7 to provide support and guidance. Thank you for watching this deep dive into Jessica's case. If you found this documentary informative and meaningful, please consider liking this video and subscribing to our channel. Your support helps us share these stories, honor victims, and raise awareness about important issues. Together, we can work to prevent tragedies like Jessica's and create a world where everyone feels safe and valued.